This is the most important election in Canadian history. This is a chance for Canada and for Canadian citizens to decide, maybe for the first time in their lives, the first time in our lives, that what matters most is that we vote for what we believe in and vote for what we want. What Greens will do in this campaign, all of the candidates standing with me here on stage. Oh, hey, student climate strikers, come up here and join us. Come up here, kids. Get up here. Our pledge as adults is that we will never abandon our children. The
Green Party has committed to protect the future for our children and our grandchildren, and it's not a question of negotiation. Of course, we are committed to protect our society, our world, our nature, and our children in the future against the climatic emergency.
This election is about telling the truth to Canadians about how serious the climate emergency really is. And we do that in order not to create fear. We do that in order to give everyone hope. We have a plan. We know this is a climate emergency, and we don't just use the words without understanding their meaning. How could we in Parliament have passed a motion June 17th that we're in a climate emergency, and the next day our government committed to spend $13 billion on the Trans Mountain Pipeline to drive up greenhouse gases? We will continue to stand firm. We will hold the line. No one can dissuade us from seeing clearly that we need to move away from fossil fuels as quickly as possible. And that's Mission Possible. Nous avons un plan, it s'appelle Mission Possible.
And it's called Mission Possible. It is possible to eliminate our dependence to fossil energy and to do it within the time that the GIEC has given their advice, and we need to do it. It's not a choice.
We know we can eliminate greenhouse gases along the timeline that the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has given us. To do this, we have to jettison partisanship. What has blocked us from action since 1992, when Canada signed the Framework Convention on Climate Change? It's been petty, short-term political considerations that clouded the thought processes of people who knew better. It's time for every so-called leader of every party to join us and accept the targets that are driven by science, not by politics, driven by courage, not by fear, driven by hope for our children's future, and an absolutely solid resolve that nothing matters more than ensuring our children and grandchildren can live out their natural lifetimes in this beautiful country with a civilization that supports us. C'est vraiment maintenant, on doit avoir, on doit mettre sur pied un projet de société.
In place a project of society for everyone to work together, and it's clear that we must work in the with a non-partisan approach. We need to do something like the Second World War.
As if we were on a wartime footing. We need an internal cabinet that absolutely commits across party lines to doing what we have to do. We can transform our economy. We can transform our economy. We can move to an economy with 100% renewable energy feeding an electricity grid. Our national infrastructure energy needs are not pipelines. It's a Canadian grid strategy to ensure creating way more jobs than any other party has talked about. We'll have millions of jobs created in retrofitting all our buildings for energy efficiency, in building that east, west, and north electricity grid, in turning over and shutting down fossil fuels and turning on the sun, the wind, the tides, the streams. We can be 100% renewable energy by 2030. It's a job we have to do. To be very clear, that means no new pipelines, banning fracking. We don't need a single new piece of fossil fuel infrastructure, but we do need to protect Canadian workers. We'll do that by starting by cutting off the foreign oil. And given the human rights record of Saudi Arabia, I won't mind one bit telling Mr. Irving he can't buy Saudi oil anymore for the St. John, New Brunswick refinery, and we'll find him a source from Hibernia instead. Our agenda is big. It is human rights. It's also social justice. It is universal pharmacare. It is child care. It is making sure that our students don't have to pay tuition anymore and our universities don't have to go cap in hand to ask corporations to give them chairs in the area of corporate profits for that industry. That's over. We are clear as Greens. Now
we understand well that we need to eliminate the influence of the big business, the transnational businesses.
Transnational corporations on every aspect of our lives is perverse. And it is, in fact, what a lot of regulators refer to the industry they regulate as their clients. We are the clients of the Government of Canada. We are the owners of the Government of Canada. We are the citizens of this country. Et comme citoyens et citoyennes, nous exigeons que notre
require that our government work for us, not for them.
And we know that we cannot achieve a world that's safe and secure for our children and ignore injustice. That's why at the center of everything we do will be respect for the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and a fight, a real fight for reconciliation that we will not give up till every kid We also stand for something else. We were earlier talking about how hard we work. We're a hardworking crew. No, that's my Bowser telling me. We are a hardworking crew. Every single Green Party candidate across this country is prepared to roll up their sleeves and work to get it done for our kids, for our friends, for our neighbors, for Greta Thunberg. When Greta says the house is on fire, the appropriate response from grown-up leadership is to say, all of the little ones, go out quickly and get to safety. We've got this. We'll call 911. We'll put out the fire. We'll deal with this. And the people in this country who don't understand this is serious, if I have to, I'm going to throw you over my shoulders and take you out of the burning building, because we're going to save you too. So, to Canadians, I ask you to consider how much happier you'll be with your vote when you know you're voting for a candidate, a party, and a leader who has your back, who earns your trust, who never lets you down, who never makes a promise we can't keep. All of our promises are being costed by the Parliamentary Budget Office. All of them. No other party can say that. We are going to present our platform, and we're going to present the budget after PBO finishes with it. We gave them the numbers in June, by the way. It's taking a while. We have a lot of things we're committed to, including what I've mentioned in terms of pharmacare and universal child care, and making sure that we can bring in a guaranteed livable income by mid-century so we eliminate poverty in this country for good. Yeah.
We are committed to protect this society, this Canadian society, to protect the future and protect every workers who are now fearing the future.
We are the smartest, best equipped, most blessed of people on the planet, because we're Canadians. And we believe in our heart of hearts as Greens that by working together across party lines and asking Canadians to think about if you really want to change how things look, please change your vote and elect a Green government to Canada. Thank you. We have a question over here. I think it's ask your question, Melanie.
The excitement, the momentum. In the end, in the past, it didn't materialize in more seats. What's going to be done differently this time? Are you going to take votes from the NDP? Is it climate change going to resonate more? How are you going to lock down the votes this time?
Greens don't split votes. Greens grow votes. We are going to be earning the vote of every Canadian who's sick of their old choices, or more likely, who's motivated by recognizing that the climate emergency we saw in 2015 is now multiple climate emergencies from coast to coast to coast. We need to act. We need to act in a way that reflects my seriousness of purpose. This is not a campaign slogan. It's not a short-term commitment. It's something that upon which the whole world could depend on Canadian leadership if only we got our act together, because right now we are laggards. So what's different from last time? Well, for one thing, we have a lot more Greens elected across Canada, official opposition in Prince Edward Island, Paul Manley elected in Nanaimo Ladysmith. We have a stronger base across this country with more volunteers ready to elect Greens in New Brunswick, in Nova Scotia, in Prince Edward Island, in Quebec, and a lot in British Columbia. So we're pretty excited. Next question. Oh, and Ontario, sorry, Ontario. Woo, go Guelph, go Steve Dick. I did not forget Ontario. Yes, sorry.
I think people are confused over the last week of what we've seen from some Green candidates across the country around issues on women's right to choose,
Yeah.
as well as on separation in Quebec. As a leader, would you stand for candidates who believe that Quebec should separate from Canada and that women should not have the right to choose around the world?
I'm glad you asked the question, Richard, because I've never been so baffled by questions about things about which I thought I've been clear for forever. The Green Party is 100% solid that we will not retreat 1 inch from a woman's right to a legal and safe abortion ever. That is a commitment. And we will not let candidates break a sacred pledge. And every MP who signs as Paul and I have done, signs the roll to become an MP, takes an oath to support, defend, and protect Canada. I don't know how the Blockistes get around that in their head, but I won't let any of my candidates get around it in their head. It's a pledge. There are only 2 members of Parliament who've been honored with the Order of Canada. I'm one of them. I will fight for my country, and there is no risk whatsoever that a Green MP would fight for separation. We fight for Canada. As far as I know, in all my conversations with him, he's not a separatist. He's a strong Quebecer within the context of Canada. I listened to his interview with the Quebec radio station many times listening, and he kept saying, I'm a strong Quebecer in the context of Canada. So I'll be talking to Pierre to make sure, because we will not have a candidate who thinks they can work to break up our country. That's not on. We are first and foremost, no other party leader is going to say this, but are you ready? First and foremost, we are earthlings. And I know there's some billionaires who want to go to Mars and start a settlement. I think we want to do a GoFundMe campaign and send them now. But in all seriousness, we are British Columbians in this room. We are strong British Columbians. But we believe Canada is a family. I loathe the strategies that have been going on between Alberta and BC provincially to make people think we're different. We love Albertans. They're our family. We love Albertans.
And we love deeply
notre famille au
our
Québec.
family in Quebec. I adore speaking in French. I do my best. I adore the experience and the ambiance and the culture in Quebec. It's my dream to be absolutely bilingual, and I do my best, but it's clear that as a Green Party in Quebec, for Quebec, we love Quebecers deeply. But in the same family, we are Canadians.